Catch on fire with the zeal of God. Oh, let your light blaze through. Dance and sing, yes, laugh and shout. Creation gives you the cue. You say that your God is love. Well, it's time to know it's true. Spirit is joy, oh, holy joy springs from my soul to you. Catch on fire with the zeal of God. Oh, let your light blaze through. Love is my decision, up to me to give of my heart. Love is my decision, no one else can tell me to start. And once I decide to change my mind, God will show me how. Love is my decision right here and now. Love is my decision, up to me to stand on that bridge. Love is my decision, no one else can make me forgive. And once I decide to change my mind, God will show me how. Love is my decision right here and now. My decision right here and now.
Yes, it is my decision right here and now. Love for all, love for self, forgiveness for me, forgiveness of others. Allowing the harmonies to come in, all those that are present here, that are present through Facebook, Zoom, Live. Knowing that we are all one, that we are all love, that we are all light, that we are all peace, that we are all divinely created as the one. And so it is.
And so it is.
We are an interfaith gathering, a spiritual community that honors all teachings and all spiritual teachers. Our ceremony for the season of peace is to discuss one prayer for peace, and this week it's Janist. And please help me introduce Claire as our candle lighter. So the first candle is the candle for peace, and this is the Janist prayer for peace. Peace and universal love is the essence of the gospel preached by all enlightened ones. The Lord has preached that equanimity is the Dharma forgive do, I, creatures all, and let all creatures forgive me. Unto all I have anonymity, and unto none enmity. Know that violence is the root cause of all miseries in the world. Violence is in fact the knot of bondage. Do not injure any living being. This is the eternal and unalterable way of spiritual life. A weapon, howsoever powerful it may be, can always be superseded by a superior one. But no weapon can, however, be superior to non-violence and love. Our second candle is the healing candle of love. We invite you in the stillness of your own mind to bring to awareness the names of anyone you wish to be included in this healing flame. of love and light. Now that our flames of faith are fully lit, we move forward into our celebration, realizing and reaffirming that all paths lead to God. So it is. Please join me in our purpose, vision, and mission. Our purpose, our reason for being. We awaken and inspire love and oneness. Our vision. What do we want to create? What do we want to become? We are an empowered, uplifting, and inclusive community. And our mission, how are we going to go about doing this? We teach spiritual transformation with grace and joy. So we now do an inspirational quote, and today's quote comes from Ernest Holmes in our Science of Mind, page 457, paragraph 4. Divine forgiveness is always within reach. What a great burden of personal responsibility disappears when we understand that the eternal mind holds nothing against anyone. And I'm going to add this part from Karen. The eternal mind holds nothing against anyone, including myself. Mm-hmm. And so it is.
And so it is.
We are held in the hands of grace, forever safe in the arms of love. Like a child receives protection from a mother's warm embrace, we are held in the hands of grace. You are held in the hands of grace, forever safe in the arms of love. Like a child receives protection from a mother's warm embrace, you are held in the hands of grace. We are held in the hands of grace, forever safe in the arms of love. Like a child receives protection from a mother's warm embrace, we are held in the hands of grace. We are held in the hands of grace.
Good morning, Alaska Center for Spiritual Living family. Good morning. It is so awesome to see all of you. I'm so happy to be here. My name is Karen Blair Sherman, and I am one of the many licensed practitioners here at the Center for Spiritual Living. And also here, and I'm going to name them so that you know who to receive prayer from later. We have Rev Dawn, we have Judy, we have Bob, we have Robert, we have Linda. Miss anybody? I don't think so. Myself. So I say that, and I call those people out to say these are people that you can tap if you are here to receive a what does that stand for? 1 minute miracle. Yes, a 1 minute miracle is at your fingertips. All you have to do is say, would you please pray with me? And we may know your joy, and we may know your sorrow, as we lift each other up in prayer, because We love to pray. And there are many ways that you can receive prayer, not just from an ohm. You can put a prayer request in the box. I will make sure that those go out to all 17 of us so that we may know the truth for you all week long. If you are online, you can receive prayer by clicking on our website, and Rev Linda will make sure that we get those prayer requests and that we are also praying for those all week long. You also can call here to the center. Rev Don will receive your message, and he will either call you back or he will tap one of us to make sure that we are calling you back. So there are many ways that you can receive prayer. You also can get in touch with one of us. I believe that all the practitioners are on our website, and you can call one of us directly, and we can do a longer session with you. And we love to do those. We love to know the truth, because sometimes it's not, you need more than just a minute. You need someone to just sit down, listen, fully embrace what's happening in your life, and know the truth for you. And we are available and attuned to do that as well. There are also ways that you can say yes, not only to prayer, but other things that we have happening at our center. We have the Season for Nonviolence that is happening right now. If you are here at the center, we have a table in the back that Christina put together, and there are goodies that you can take from there. You also, we have the social meditation that's happening with Gail Jackson. I have attended one of those on Thursdays. It is wonderful. It's Thursday from 7 to 7:30. It starts on time. It ends on time. And we have people from all over. It's not just Alaskans that are coming to join in. We have people who are coming from different places in different states. So all are welcome. And the Zoom link is at the CSLalaska.org calendar. We have Visioning for Peace that happens 7 o'clock this Wednesday. It's always the first Wednesday of the month, and we start March on Tuesday. So Wednesday is March 2nd, and so there's a code, and that also, I believe, is on our website. If you are signed up for the book group from Rev Rachel's book, From There to Here, don't forget that we start that today from 3 to 5. You needed to already be signed up for that, but I just wanted to mention that. And then also, 5% of our offerings are circulated back into the Anchorage community. We get together at the beginning of the year and decide all year long with a couple going into January and February where those monies will go. And for this month, it is the Alaska Literacy Project. And so I believe that that is all, except for that we are in for a wonderful talk today about forgiveness. Rev Don, what I love about the talks that he does is that they're always personal. There's always something that he's reflecting on. He seeps himself into prayer. How many of you knew that Rev Don has a cabin? No. That he loves to go to. And right now on his heart, just before we were meeting today, his son had gone to check on his cabin, and there is a lot of snow. So he will be going there sometime soon to make sure that he takes care of his beloved cabin. So more music, and then on to Rev Don. Sorry.
By way of the minister's moment today, last week I had indicated that I thought we were very close to opening all the way up. The numbers for Anchorage didn't come in to really support that. We had about 200 new cases over in Anchorage for a 2-day period. Looking at what the CDC says and others, we need to be somewhere around 30 new cases per day. So we need to see a continued drop before we can jump back in with both feet. But I do think that's going to happen. It's happened throughout the lower 48 and the other places when the Omicron variant seems to wane. It drops really fast. So that's what I'm holding for, and that's where we're at. Keep your eyes peeled on the numbers as you see them in the paper, on the newscasts. and we'll have it in the e-blast as well as from the pulpit here. So kind of bad news, but it's better to err on the safe side of safety than to risk any of our elders or vulnerable population. So that's where we're at. Now music.
Name of love, with a heart of grace, overflow in us, decorate this place. As it is below, so it is above. May we always stand in the name of love. When the veil is gone, there's only one of us, only one, in the name of love. When the day is done, we will sing this song, all as one, in the name of love. In the name of love, may we always be seeking out the best till we all are free. Living in a world we've been dreaming of, where we stand as one in the name of love. When the veil is gone, there's only one of us, only one, in the name of love. When the day is done, we will sing this song, all as one, in the name of love. In the name of love, in the name of love. In the name of love, in the name of love. In the name of love, in the name of love.
Thank you, choir. Aaron, thank you. Well, good morning. Welcome to the Alaska Center for Spiritual Living. For those of you who are here today, thank you for coming out. And to those of you who are watching, it is indeed an honor to be invited into your home. I'm going to start this morning with a story, and it's a retread from 2 weeks ago. And the reason I'm retreading it is that it is really pertinent to today's topic. And it is a story that I told about a lady by the name of Sabra Cicanelli. And when she was a little girl, she was in kindergarten, and another girl stole her favorite little toy. And it really hurt her. And all the way through school, she carried resentment for that little girl. She was really hurt by her, and she carried that resentment all the way through school. She graduated and went on to her life, and she attended her 20th year class reunion. And as she went through the buffet line, she looked up, and who was directly across from her but that little girl that had stolen her security blanket little toy. And all of the old resentment, the old anger, all welled up kind of inside her at once. And the little girl that had stolen the toy, now of course a grown woman, said, "Oh, hi, we've known each other for a long, long time." And she said, "Yes." And she said, "You know, I hated school when I was little. I could hardly make it to come, but my mom made me. I just hated that so much." And in that moment, Sabra was able to see her not as the little girl who stole her toy, but she saw her as another scared little girl. And with that change in her perspective, all of the anger, resentment drained out, and she was able to see her for the woman that she had become. Well, our theme for the last 5 weeks, at least my talks for the last 5 weeks, was back to basics. And I dealt with some of the real basic fundamentals of the science of mind. But given a little 20-minute blurb in a sermon on Sunday doesn't really give you enough chance to get into some of these topics deeper. So as we go on throughout the year, one of my goals is to tie things back to those basic points that we've talked about in the last 5 weeks. And the topic that I want to delve into a little deeper today is forgiveness. The title of my talk is Forgive to Live. In all of the things that we did last week, one of the things that I covered was how science today supports the act of forgiveness in terms of our own physical health, heart rate, blood flow. All kinds of things change when we are able to let go of resentment and forgive people who have wronged us. Today I have 3 major points. First of all, what is forgiveness? Number 2, seeing the truth. And number 3, I'm going to talk a little bit about fear. So 3 major points. First one, what is forgiveness? I submit that forgiveness has absolutely nothing to do with the offender. It has absolutely nothing to do with the person who wronged you. And it has everything to do with yourself. One of the definitions that we kicked around 2 weeks ago when I did this, and it stuck with me and I really like it. Forgiveness is letting go of all hope for a better past. Letting go of all hope for a better past. We are forgiving those who have made us believe that we are not valuable. And we are forgiving ourselves for believing them. Ernest Holmes said it so well. Basic point, and we covered this in week 1, God is all there is. This idea that this infinite creative force of the universe that made everything, from the tiniest subatomic particle up through the farthest away distant galaxy, that thing that made all of the cosmos, all of everything, made us. And the only thing that it had to make it out of was itself. So each and every one of us are made of God stuff. God is all there is. So that person who wronged you, that person who hurt you, is also a product of God. Ernest Holmes wrote, "We believe that spirit is embodied in everyone and that we are all embodiments of the one spirit." That comes right out of what we believe. I also saw a Chinese proverb, and I liked it so much I wanted to put it in today's talk, and this is where I think it fits best. But I wanted to get it in there somewhere. When the eye is not blocked, the result is vision. When the mind is not blocked, the result is wisdom. But when the spirit is not blocked, the result is love. It reminds me of a story of a good man who died and went to heaven. And he arrived at the pearly gates. Bang, bang, bang. He knocked on the pearly gates, and a voice from inside, he could tell it was the voice of God, said, "Who's there?" And he said, "I am." And the voice of God came back and said, "Heaven's full. There's no room. Go away. Come back another time." I thought, well, that's not very good. So he came back to earth. Maybe it was purgatory. I don't know where he went. He went somewhere for a while, and he meditated. He thought about it some more. And he went back up to heaven sometime later. knocked on the door, bang, bang, bang. Same voice. Who's there? And he says, I am. Got the same answer. Heaven's full, no room for you. Go away, come back later. So he went back and he meditated again. And he thought and he thought. And so this time when he went back, he knocked on the gates of heaven. And a voice came out and said, who's there? And he answered, you are. And with that, the gates of heaven opened. And God said, there was never any room for you and me. So when we can recognize that God is all of everything, that God is in everything, even the things that we don't like, the things that we judge and everything else, we can open and return to the path of love toward oneself. Also, what we project is what we carry with us. We project out into the world that which we carry with us. And for this one, I tell a story. This is the story of the great samurai warrior and the small little monk. And this great, powerful warrior approached the little monk. And he said in a booming, demanding voice, teach me of heaven and hell. And his voice was the kind of voice you could tell the man who said that was used to being replied to instantly and obeyed instantly. And the little monk said, teach you? I couldn't teach you anything. You're too stupid. You're a disgrace. You stink. You haven't had a bath. Your sword is rusty. You're a blight on the samurai tradition. I couldn't teach you anything. And the rage filled up inside the samurai, and he withdrew his sword, and he was ready to run the little monk through. And just as he raised his sword, he looked down in anger. The little monk said, and that is hell. And the great samurai realized, and he dropped. He put his sword away, and he dropped to his knee in front of the little monk, and he said, thank you. Thank you for this lesson. And with that, the little monk said, and that is heaven. Point number 2 is seeing the truth. Forgiveness is seeing the truth beyond apparent circumstances, and love is the solution. We have this thing called justice without judgment. Suffering stops as soon as we quit misusing the law. I have another story. This one happens to be 2 monks. I got a lot of monks today, don't I? This is the story of 2 monks who were on a pilgrimage. And it's a long, long pilgrimage. They woke up one morning, and fairly early in the morning, they came to a river that they had to ford. And it was deep, and it was swift, and a little dicey for them. But they waded across the river, and they got out the other side. And there on the other side was a beautiful woman. And she was small, and she couldn't make it by there on her own. And so one of the monks picked her up, put her on his shoulders, and carried her to the other side. And he let her off and then returned. Well, the other monk was furious because it was in their code that they could never touch a woman. And he was furious at his partner. And even though he said nothing, all day he was just boiling inside. And they walked all day, many, many kilometers. And finally, as night started to draw, they came to their next little stopping point. It was a monastery, and they went to go in. And the monk said, I have to report this. This was a terrible transgression. You have violated our code, and I must report this to our superiors. And the other monk said, huh? What are you talking about? He said, why? You not only touched that woman, but you carried her on your shoulders across the river. And the monk said, well, yes, I did. But I put her down on the other side. You, my friend, have been carrying her all day. To hold grudges is a misuse of spiritual law. It is a rejection of our principle of oneness. Point number 3 I'm going to talk about is fear. When we are wronged, that is, hurt, embarrassed, or even physically harmed, our reaction is typically based in fear. Fear that we will no longer be loved or even lovable. When we can forgive others, we see them as hurt individuals just like us, and we can love them in spite of what they may have done. Even if they stole our favorite toy when we were in kindergarten. Forgiveness does not mean that we have to let someone else's behavior continue. We need to sometimes take steps necessary to make sure that it doesn't happen again. We can't let people just walk all over us, and sometimes we have to put boundaries and protect ourselves. As for the offender, the universe will take care of them. Ernest Holmes, once again, wrote, "There is no sin but error, nor is there punishment but the inevitable consequence. The wrong deed has its punishment because the law of cause and effect operates eternally." We are not punished by our actions. We are punished for our actions. If we drink a quart of whiskey a day, we are not punished by some God up high who is judging us as worthless drunks and condemns us to hell. No, we are punished because our liver is going to be Swiss cheese, that we are going to do harm to ourselves. The law of cause and effect will take care of every single situation. What I want you to take away today, the conclusion from today: we waste precious moments regretting the past or fearing the future, when the only time we can do something is right now. The act of forgiveness frees us from the past and the weight of emotional baggage. In that freedom, we become who we truly are. And so it is with this awareness that I ask my colleagues, the practitioners, to join me in holding our congregation, our city, our state in love and light. And we just simply recognize that that infinite creative power is indeed expressing itself through and as each and every one of us at this and in every moment. That as we go through this thing called life, we bump into things, we run into things, we experience things, and all of this is an expression of that infinite creative power. And it is our job to learn from this. It is our job to forgive those who have wronged us so that we become free, so that we can step away. And so as we run into the things in life, we run into health challenges, we can simply know that there is behind this appearance a spiritual truth that is perfection. That there is indeed God even in the sick person, even in the terminal person, there is that infinite spirit. As we experience things like lack and limitation we can know that this too is an expression of the Most High. Gives us an opportunity to look within and see the true joy that comes not from things, but from people and from love, the love of God. And as we butt heads with people, as we go through this thing called life, we can see beyond differences in politics, in religion, and all of the other things, and simply know that each and every one of us are expressions of the Most High, and each and every one of us are doing the best job that we can as we move through this thing called life. And so we can just give thanks for our awareness of that power, that presence, which is God and is within us all at every moment. We give thanks for that awareness. And now we can just step back and allow that divine current, which is God, operating through us to guide us and lead us along. We give thanks, we let it go, and so it is.
How I wanted to change the world, but I always left it up for someone else to do. But then I finally realized I needed to take a stand, and that changing my thinking, I could change my life. That's how I could change the world. So let there be peace, I am a stand for peace. Let there be love, I am a stand for love. Let there be joy, I am a stand for joy. We are making a new world now. So let there be peace, I am a stand for peace. Let there be love, I am a stand for love. Let there be joy, I am a stand for joy. We are making a new world now. Peace, I am a stand for peace. Let there be love, I am a stand for love. Let there be joy, I am a stand for joy. We are making a new world now. We are making a new world now. We are making a new world now.
We are indeed making a new world now. This is the time in this service where we are afforded the opportunity to participate in another spiritual practice, that being the law of circulation. Judy's soloing it today.
Oh, yeah.
You're collecting
Soaring like
and
a bird.
passing. Yeah, you're really circulating.
I am.
While you're taking a moment, fill out your check, whatever. My intent today was to include the Ukraine and peace in my healing prayer, and I don't know why it didn't come in. But I do want to state that we do hold that part of the world which is experiencing conflict. And we don't deny that there's conflict. We don't deny that there's loss, that people are dying. But what we can know is that this too is an expression of the Most High. And we can do our part in that by being an expression of God's love. We can do our part by embracing peace. And just as we go through the season of peace, I think it's really important that we realize that true peace begins right here within our hearts, each and every one of us. So with that in mind, join me in our affirmation. Divine love through me blesses and multiplies all that I have, all that I give, and all that I receive. Thank you, God, and so it is. Thank you.
My love over the mountains, send my love over the sea, send my love into the heavens, and it returns to me. I send my joy over the mountains. I send my joy over the sea. I send my joy into the heavens, and it returns to me. I send peace over the mountains. I send peace over the sea. I send peace into the heavens, and it returns to me. And it returns to me. And it returns to me. Returns to me.
So today, in closing, the time is now. I release any baggage to say yes to my authentic self. For when spirit is not blocked, the result is love. Our affirmation for today. I'll say it through and then we'll echo. Saying yes to forgiveness is saying yes to oneness. Saying yes to forgiveness is saying yes to oneness. And so it is.
And so it is.